Hey guys, this is What If Subaru was Jack Frost Part 2. Let's get into it. Yeah, this series, in first retrospect, it wasn't really expected or looked upon to be a sequel to this part because I left, room to have like a full-on series from this, but I never thought, you guys would want a continuation and a full-on series based off this idea. So, love the support, guys, and let's dive right into it. What if Subaru was Jack Frost Part 2? Now, last time I left off, we said that Subaru would have befriended with Amelia, would have actually became friends with Reinhardt, and would have actually started to develop his powers greatly, being able to somewhat levitate slash hover with the wind, also being able to manipulate ice and make ice constructs, pillars, and things of that nature, and also learning that he can do a type of regeneration or a type of accelerated healing with his ice magic. Granted, he will start to grow and thrive in ways even surpassing the powers of Jack Frost, and basically becoming kind of a guardian. But we see Subaru wake up as he would have stayed the night over at the Roswell estate, or the estate. He would have gotten up, looking around, being confused on where everybody is. He would have gotten up, walking through the corridors, walking through the multiple hallways with doors, rooms, and a bunch of other things. Him stopping in his tracks, he would have felt something interesting. See that the hallways kept on repeating themselves. He would have obviously thought it was some sort of RPG game. He had to pick the right door to go through. So he picked the right door to go through off rip, ending up in the library, meeting Beatrice. Beatrice being a short, blonde-haired, petite-looking lady, as she would have announced herself as Beatrice, and also would have been kind of confused on why Subaru was here, and basically saying that she doesn't know who he is because he came to the estate last night and, well, flopped on the bed like he fought an entire war. You're out for the whole night. Subaru would have asked her, why is she here and exactly what is this place. She would explain it's the library, and it's a place with a lot of knowledge, and it's her duty to look over it and look after it. But enough of me yapping, I need you to get out of here, as she would have instantly told him to be gone, being kind of upset, or not really upset, but fed up with his presence. She tried using mind manipulation or sucking the mind out of his body to, pretty much knock him out, but nothing would happen, nothing would work. Her being confused on what was going on, as Subaru's confused on what she's trying to do, as she's just holding him. She backs up, being confused, as she would have sensed something off about him. He wasn't quite human. Not truly, at least. It was like he was something else. Something more powerful, something more ancient. But in between her daydreaming and being kind of thrown off, Subaru would have just left, as he would start to walk more and more through the corridors and the estate, eventually coming across, Ram and Ram, as he would have bumped into Ram, having her drop some blankets. She would have quickly been helped up by Subaru, as Subaru would have folded the clothes, helping her up as well, saying, hey, I think we met last night? Yes, we did meet. You're Miss Amelia's savior? Or hero? At least that's what you called yourself. I know, last night was a little hazy, but if you don't mind me asking, where's Amelia? As she would have said, she's right down there, pointing to the downstairs area, as Subaru would have jumped down the very intricate, beautiful staircase, eventually getting to the dining hall, him bumping into Ram. Wait, he bumped into Ram. He bumps into Ram now. He bumps into the blue hair baddie. He bumps into Ram, and introduces himself yet again to her as the day continues. Majority of the interactions between each other don't really change too much, because the only thing that's different about Subaru is his appearance. His personality hasn't changed too much, and his outlook on this world isn't as bad as he thought it would be, considering that now he knows he has power, and he's been kind of blessed by the isekai lore of power dynamics, because he does have a power besides just return by death. He has multiple abilities besides just return by death. That being said, Subaru still does make a bad impression with Roswell, as he doesn't actually do this. Actually, I'm gonna scrap that real quick. He actually doesn't, because he does meet Roswell off rip when he was introduced to the group that night when he came to the estate. So off rip, he's already met Rim and Ram, since he had to reintroduce himself to them when he wasn't so tired, and he also did introduce himself to Mr. Roswell. He would have sat down there, as they would have asked him yet again, because he asked him that later that night, or the night they came from the capital, if he wanted to, get anything, if he needed a prize. They had to reward him something. He saved Miss Amelia's life and got her insignia back. Subaru does think about it long and hard, and, well, he asked for one particular thing. He asked for Miss Amelia to teach him about magic, and also show him how to use his power. They're all confused by this, as Amelia would have said, wait, no, like, you're way more powerful than me. Yeah, but I don't know how to use it. And you seem pretty advanced with your magic, and I don't even know the first thing about magic. I just got these powers. So, if you won't mind, will you please teach me? I guess so, as Amelia would have agreed, as that would be Roswell's gift to Subaru, as Subaru wouldn't have picked being a guest or a butler, as he would have been kind of a apprentice to Miss Amelia, basically indirectly becoming one of her bodyguards, because he would have to be around her 24/7 and be taught by her, as her outcome of this would be kind of beneficial, considering that Subaru would be able to protect her, considering that Subaru has shown to have a bigger and better power level than her, or more likely a better magic affinity to ice than her. They start off simple later that day, talking about gates, mana, and other things of that nature, how mana is all around them, and about how his magic comes within, and his infinity is based off of what he's, connected to. They go through his infinities, as he has a very high ice infinity, higher than, Amelia's, as he also has a few other infinities that Puck he doesn't really know. He's confused, because in his years of existing, he's never once came across this. As he looks and tries to figure out Subaru's gate, as he finds it, but he passes by it, as he's confused on what he sees, as he backs away from Subaru, as he is in awe, saying, "Where are you from, Subaru? Where am I from? I'm from a far off land. You probably never heard of it. It's called Japan. Japan. Well, that's interesting, because Subaru, you have two gates." Him and Rim and Amelia would have all been in shock, because Rim would have been around the area overhearing this. Subaru would have been confused, asking them what do they mean, as Puck would have said that Subaru has two gates, interlocked with each other, like a chain, and they seem to be very powerful on their own. You have immense power, but you lack precision, Subaru. Is that why you asked Miss Amelia to teach you? Yeah, that's what I asked Miss Amelia to teach me. But I never knew I had two gates. Is that abnormal? Yes, it very much is abnormal, as Puck would have explained this with very much enthusiasm, trying to get his point across. But we get a little time skip for the past couple days. Subaru being taught by Amelia about the basics of magic control, and the first time him using his magic gate, releasing his energy, he would have froze over the entire garden area. Multiple of the bushes and shrubs being frozen solid. Subaru can manipulate temperature on a low scale, allowing him to freeze or unfreeze objects at will. As he learns this pretty quickly, being a pretty quick learner and fast on his feet. He learns pretty quickly with Amelia, as he doesn't know all what he can do, but he knows the basics. He knows how to shoot ice projectiles, make ice constructs, ice walls, and also he knows how to do something a little bit cooler than what Amelia can do. Subaru learns how to skate on ice with his bare feet, learning how he can make a thin layer of wind underneath his feet that he can call upon. He doesn't yet know exactly how the whole wind thing works, but it seems to be some sort of magic he can manipulate, but he doesn't know just yet how powerful his wind magic can be. But with that being said, Subaru is just chilling, relaxing, and just having a good time with Amelia. Granted, with Subaru having these ice abilities and also being tampered with or touched by a different entity besides the witch, his must, the stench of the witch, which wouldn't be actually be able to be picked up on by Rim or Ram. Subaru being kind of just smelling normal, maybe even a little minty.
Disclaimer. When Subaru tries to tell anybody about returned by death, the witch's scent appears around him, but only for a few minutes, and then it goes away. Anyway, back to the video.
As he didn't come off smelling or being connected to the Witch of Calamity. So Miss Amelia would have still just taught Subaru with no real interference from the twins, as Ram and Rim wouldn't have thought of him as suspicious or would have not, thought of him to be in cahoots with the witch cultist group, considering that he smelled normal and he was pretty chill. And they obviously assumed him just to be a very gifted young man that needed help and guidance. So none of the suspicion that would have caused Ram or Rim to be, motivated to kill him wouldn't have came up. The following days, Subaru would have actually, he would actually wake up one night being confused on what he heard. Subaru wakes up one night after a long, grueling training day with Amelia, also teaching Amelia, and not teaching Amelia, but mainly learning from Amelia about politics and other things like that, and also Amelia also offering to teach him how to write and read their language. Subaru being able to pick up on this pretty quickly. Instead of Rim or Ram teaching him how to write, it would have been Amelia thick and through. Besides that, we saw Subaru goes to sleep later in the night. Subaru goes to sleep on the last night as he would have started to feel something weird around him, like a bone-chilling presence in the room with him. Him breathing and seeing his breath like it was freezing cold in the room. He gets up looking around as a huge gust of wind blows out all of his windows as glass starts flying everywhere. The wind starts to flow all around him, throwing around multiple things in his room, his books, his chair, his sheets, everything, his jumpsuit, his phone, and starts to wave around the entire room as a voice echoes in his ear telling him the children are in trouble. Earlier on in the days to come, Subaru did offer to help Rim travel and pick up ingredients. He went to the village and was able to bond with the children there and also do radio calisthenics with the villagers also, basically becoming establishing a relationship with the village prior to this. He also would have actually went to the village prior to this after his first day of training with Amelia. So Subaru was attached to these kids, and he also knew even if he wasn't, it was the right thing to do to help them if he knew something bad was going to happen. With this warning or just, presence telling him what's happening or what's wrong, a huge wave of fear but also, readiness would have waved and pushed all over Subaru's body. He would have rushed directly out of his room, bumping into Ram. Ram asking him what's going on, him telling her that he needs to go now. Oh my god, I got it wrong. It was Ram and Rim, not Ran and Rim. It was Ram and Rim. Damn, sorry guys. But Subaru would have helped her up, telling her that he knows something bad's gonna happen to the kids. He doesn't know yet, he doesn't know why, he doesn't know how he knows it, but he knows something's gonna happen at the village and he needs to go now. As she tells him that he needs to stay because they can't leave the estate. He eventually drags her along, going down the going down the stairs down, bumping into Ram. Ram and Rim ask him what's going on as he tells them that he doesn't know just yet what's happening, but he knows something bad's about to happen at the village. He needs to go save them or figure out or stop it. I don't know. What do you mean? What are you talking about, Subaru? I don't know what I'm talking about. But what I know is something's happening, and I need to stop it. What's going on? As Amelia would have came out of her sleep in her sleeping gown, asking what's going on. Subaru explains to her what's going on as she tells him, not to get hurt and not to get in trouble, and asking him if he really needs to go. Him saying yes, he does. They start to make a little bit of a plan as Rim offers to go with him, stating that someone has to stay here with Miss Amelia and not leave the estate. It could be a trap. Subaru says okay as he lunges out of the estate, running off into the forest, with Rim very much quickly following after him. They eventually get to the village as they figure out what's going on, as one of the villagers are looking around for the children, as all the children in the village have gone missing. Subaru's confused by this, but he hears a wind blow him towards the right area, seeing an opening in the gate, the barrier that kept all the mob beasts out of the way of the villagers and away from the village, stopping them from being murdered in their sleep by monsters. Subaru sees there's a big enough gap for the children to be lured away by some sort of monster, as Rim immediately tells one of the villagers to go get help now. Subaru immediately jumps over the fence as she explains to him and also asks him point blank, what is he doing? He should wait for backup, He doesn't even know how to use his magic yet. And Subaru says that he learned enough. And you haven't even seen me in action, huh? He gets up as she follows quickly after him, telling him, what are you planning to do? What are you thinking about doing? I'm thinking about saving those kids. You might not know me, Rim, and you might really not even care. But ever since I've got here, I've learned so much more about what I'm capable of. And I need to learn more about what I'm capable of, even more so now. Those kids are relying on somebody to help them and save them. I'm not just going to wait around for some villagers to come when I can do something about it. I was given a gift, and I'm not going to just waste it being on the sidelines. I was raised to help people in need, and I'm not going to let these kids die just because I'm scared of what might happen if I'm not strong enough. At least I tried. At least I did something. As Rim hears this, as she nods, saying, fine, then I'll help you. She pulls out her morning star as Subaru says cool, as they run into the forest. They run into the forest as they eventually find a clearing where they see most of the kids there, but Subaru looks around, seeing one other kid unaccounted for. He gets up looking around, being confused on what's going on, as he hears some sort of scream in the distance. He tells Amelia to look after the kids as he rushes off as Rim! He tells Rim to look after the kids as he's gonna try to find the other girl. As she says to stay here, but him saying no, I got this. Him rushing off. Subaru would have rushed back into the forest as he would have started to run, eventually finding a nearby other clearing, a little bit less open than the field, but seeing one of the girls, a purple-haired girl, underneath some tree. He pulls the tree off of her with minimal effort, basically using some leverage from a stick he picked up, surprisingly a stick that's pretty strong, as he picks her up with the stick still in his hand. He pulls her up as he hears growling behind him, seeing multiple mob beasts around him. Rockwire looking beasts with horns, or not horns, but massive ass fangs in their teeth or in their mouth, whatever, I don't know, but they would have started to circle around Subaru. They would have started to look at him, and they would have started to lunge one by one. Subaru shooting multiple ice magic attacks towards them, hitting them multiple times, and also point blank headshotting them with icicles. He would start to look around, trying to find an opening or an exit with this girl in his hand. He looked around more and more as one of the kids, or one of the children, would yell out in pain, as we see that Subaru looks through the bushes and through the multiple trees, seeing multiple slash wounds and screams in the background. Subaru hearing something else within the forest with him and Rim. I'm sorry, my narration's a little bit tricky right now, I ain't gonna hold you. But let me recenter myself real quick. That being said, Subaru had to move fast. Quick, skibbity, toilet rip. What the am I talking about? Had to move lickety split. So Subaru immediately started to lunge out of there, shooting multiple ice attacks towards the mob beast, allowing a small opening for him to chuck the kid out of the harm's way into a couple of bushes. Him also throwing multiple ice pillars around him, slowing multiple more of the mob beast down even more so. Using his ice magic to propel himself forward by making a pillar underneath his feet, using the trajectory and also the movement of it to propel himself up into the sky, right near the girl, grabbing her and running right out of the forest, eventually finding a clearing as he would have noticed the same woman he fought the earlier days, Elsa, attacking Rim. Rim would have started defending the children and also trying to defend herself against well, Elsa. Elsa would have started to go toe to toe, blow to blow, throwing multiple slash wounds, attacks, and just overall manhandling Rim. Their fight would be evenly matched, but with the immense speed Elsa had over Rim, it was looking very one-sided very quickly. Subaru would have lunged over there, throwing multiple ice attacks, freezing Elsa's feet solid, but her strength breaking through the ice and chucking a dagger straight towards Subaru. Subaru would have dodged, instantly grabbing the dagger and chucking it right back towards her, as she would have grabbed it, saying, "Good reflexes, kid," as she would have elbowed the shit out of Rim. After Rim would have tried to sneak attack her, she would have chucked another dagger towards Rim, trying to gut her like a fish, but Subaru throwing an ice pillar between the two, as he would have chucked the girl near the other kids, making an ice dome around them like an igloo to keep them safe. As he did that, a huge haymaker of a kick straight to the noggin when it came out of nowhere, Elsa sending him flying about 6 to 7 feet out down the hill. He would have gotten back up after that nasty fall, spitting up some blood, as Elsa would have gone for a even heavier haymaker of a attack straight to the noggin, trying to cut his head clean off. Super would have made an ice shield out of thin air, blocking the attack, but it's shattering on instant since he didn't make it with, really a sturdy structure. He made it very last minute. As Subaru gets back up, making an ice sword, keeping her at bay, she smiles, saying, I assume you didn't grow that much in the last time you fought. She lunges straight towards Subaru, as Subaru dodges yet again, making an ice staff, blocking her in her path, stabbing it in the ground, making the ground lickety-splittity-wickety iced out. As the ice floor would have thrown Elsa off her balance, as Super would have lunged over to her, grabbing her by the collar and chucking her into a nearby pillar he made earlier, and cracking the ice and making her fall into shattered ice. Multiple cut wounds would have been lacerated around her arms and legs, her getting up smiling and saying, "Is that all you got?" As Super would start to slowly see her wounds start to heal very quickly. Super backed up as he would have made multiple ice daggers and the same shape and actually sturdiness as Elsa's daggers, going into a fighting position against her. Her smiling, saying, "You might be a good magic user, but you're poorly mistaken if you think you're going to outclass me in fighting tactics. Now, granted, you might be an ice user, but I'm pretty sure what's in you is warm and beautiful." As she lunges straight towards him, trying to cut him, or basically gut him, as Subaru makes an ice armor around his waist, making kind of an ice bulletproof vest, as it shatters as Subaru gets sent flying, basically saving him last minute, but it didn't help much because, well, Elsa's throwing more and more haymakers and trying to lunge and cut the space between each other even more and more. Subaru lunges away, trying to get a good distance away from each other, but it's just getting closer and closer as Amelia sees it from afar, seeing multiple ice attacks and pillars being formed in a nearby opening, as she would have asked Ram to move out the way, as she had to do something. She had to help Subaru, as she would have said, "No, Miss Amelia, you need to stay here. It's obviously some sort of trap. It's always some sort of bait to get you out of there, out in the open." Without Mr. Roswell's estate or his protection, we're kind of sitting ducks right now, and we need to stay here where it's safe. We get switched back to the fight between Elsa and Subaru, and also Rim, as Rim would have jumped in, helping Subaru get the distance between each other, pushing Elsa back. Rim would have told Subaru to get the kids out of here, as Subaru would have broken down the ice pillar or the ice igloo, grabbing the kids one by one, making kind of an ice sleigh to rush them outside of the area. He eventually walks down the hillside, pushing them down an ice sleigh to the villagers that just showed up. He tells the villagers to get out of here now, as he waves them away, but out of nowhere he sees a sharp object coming straight towards him, cutting off his hand clean off. Subaru yells at him in pain, falling onto the ground as Elsa smiles. Elsa saying, "My boss, my employer told me you were strong. I told him what you did. He obviously saw you as a threat. But now, you seem weaker than the last time we fought." Subaru gets up in pain, saying, "Weaker? You haven't seen nothing yet." He puts out a huge blast of ice as he focuses. A huge gust of wind blows out of his hands and all around his body, basically throwing him up into the sky as he starts to fly around Elsa. As he does this, he does see the mob be starting to, well, close in on their location, starting to surround them and starting to pick off or trying to single off Rim. With that being said, Subaru knew he had to do something. He had to do something now because they were losing time and they were losing leverage right now. Rim was on her last leg. She was badly beaten by Elsa, and on top of that, she had to feed off all these mob beasts that were overwhelming her. Subaru put all of his power, all of his willpower into one final attack, as a huge gust of wind and ice blast out of his body, enveloping the entire area in about a mile radius. The entire field, or open grass, field, hill, whatever, is completely covered in ice. Trees frozen solid, and the mob beasts frozen solid, killing them if they get hit by a single blow, giving enough time and enough leverage and also a good, well, advantage to Rim. Rim not being affected by this somehow because of Subaru's power, or I guess subconscious saving her or keeping her safe, as she starts to whammy through these mob beasts with minimal to no effort. Eventually, the main mob beast being killed in this blast of ice attack. Subaru falls onto the ground as the wind slowly carries him in front of Elsa. Elsa is covered in ice as she tries to break free, as Subaru lunges straight towards her, trying to break her in ice form, but he stops midway, not really knowing if he's able to kill somebody, to kill a person. But in this moment of hesitation, he gets cut right in the gut, falling down to the ground as Elsa starts to stab him repeatedly over and over and over again. As Subaru grabs one last blade before it can finish him off in a nick or something more vital besides his stomach, he starts to try to fight back, as she tells him that she's not leaving here until he's dead. As Subaru smiles, saying, "I guess you have to leave anyways," leave disappointed. As Subaru freezes her knife or her dagger solid, breaking it in two, grabbing her by the collar and chucking her down at the ground. Adrenaline pumping through his veins as Subaru starts to freeze her solid, just enough to keep her, well, there, not for her to break out this time. But she knows that she's winning, or she's kind of losing this actually, because she's definitely at a disadvantage. Both of her daggers are gone, and she's starting to get frozen solid. Her hands are mobilized, and she can't really do anything. As she starts to fight back, putting all of her strength into a mean headbutt straight into Subaru's noggin, knocking him out cold. She's about to finish him off with a clean precision hit with her hands, but getting stopped when she sees a huge blast of ice shock her in the side of the ribcage, it being Amelia. Elsa gets back up, seeing that she's overwhelmed by this point because, well, Ram, and Amelia are all there. She looks around as she sees that Subaru starts to slowly wake up as ice starts to form around her feet once again. She immediately gets out of there retreating as Subaru is picked up and helped up by the three girls. The days following, Subaru would have helped the village, basically prepare for the next event, and also would have started to go deeper in his training with Amelia. Amelia would have been very impressed by his show of power. Elsa would have been actually kind of scared of Subaru now, but more or less kind of intrigued by him and wanting to fight him more to see exactly how powerful he could become and wanting to see how much he can actually do. With that being said, Subaru also did gain the trust and respect of Rim and Ram, as they both respect him very much in the sense that he is worthy enough to be taught by Miss Amelia and also be a part of the, well, Roswell estate, or the Amelia party. Subaru knowing this, as he's incredibly happy by this as he's accepted into the estate. As I'm gonna leave out here, guys. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you guys like and subscribe, and as always, guys, have a blessed day. Part 3 will be coming next week. And yeah, basically with the story, Subaru is gonna eventually lose some things, but also gain a lot more. And just saying, Subaru will vastly become stronger and stronger as the story progresses. Also, I'm doing a poll on my channel. I'm dropping 2 what ifs I'm thinking of doing. What if Invincible was in ReZero, or what if Subaru was Kryptonian? You guys decide which one I should do. But as always, guys, have a blessed day. Deuces.